Hello, everyone. Well, remember how I told you all to get out there for No King's Day and to show that you love your country? Well, I myself was not able to get out for No King's Day. I wasn't able to because of a person named Vance Belter, which I'm getting to it very shortly. But first, I want to discuss the invasion of Iran, the bombs that were dropped, bunker buster bombs dropped on the military base in Iran that was used to refine uranium to weapons grade uranium. And we don't know yet what the result of this is going to be. Okay, we just don't know. We need more intelligence. We need spy agencies to let us know what went on and how extensive the damage is in Iran or Iran. That's the proper way to pronounce it, is Iran. I'll never get used to it because when I was a kid, people didn't care how the names of countries were pronounced. They just pronounced it any old way they felt like. And everybody said Iran. So I learned to say Iran, but it's really Iran. That's how Iranians pronounce it, is Iran. So Iran, we don't know if the bunker buster bombs destroyed the nuclear capabilities of Iran or whether they just set them back a couple of months, a couple of years, 10 to 15 years. We don't know. We just don't know at this point. But there were a lot of trucks going in and out of the site before they dropped the bombs. So maybe they were shipping the equipment and or the refined uranium out of that site before it was bombed. And it was really glib Donald Trump's fault if they shipped the uranium out of the site. It was because Donald Trump is too glib. Glib means talkative, yak yak yak, talk talk talk, yak yak yak, talk talk talk. You know, uh, Trump likes to talk. He likes to yak, and then he spills the beans about what he's about to do. He gives people clues and little hints and drops little cookies, little mouse cookies for a trail of crumbs for them to follow. So, because he dropped his little trail of crumbs for people to follow, they were able to figure out that he was about to bomb their site, and they evacuated as fast as possible. He shouldn't have given them any clue what he was about to do. He shouldn't have said, no, I'm considering dropping bunker buster bombs, but I want to wait a couple weeks first. Bam, 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 bam. They had some clue. They had some mention of forethought that they were able to figure out where he was going to bomb and when. They knew he was about to trick them. And this brings up my next topic. My next very unpleasant topic of machoism. Yes, machoism. My question for you is, have you known anyone macho in your life? And if so, what are they like? What are they like and what do they do when they're macho? A macho is not a nice name. It's not a compliment. It's a pejorative. And it means masculine in a negative way. That's what macho means. It's actually, macho is negative masculinity. So what do we know about machoism? Well, not machoism. Either men and women can be macho. Um, They're tough. They're hard. They're resistant to change. They don't give in easily. They may lie. And then they back up their lies with more bluster. They do. It's all these bad things, right? All of these bad things that make a person macho. They don't give in. They don't compromise. They don't yield. Like when they're driving, they see a red light and they go charge, and they run the red light. They they don't yield. They don't give right of way. They're not nice. They don't hold the door open for you. They slam the door in your face. They're mean. They're mean cusses. These macho people are mean. They're really mean. And it's Western society that emulates the value of macho. But guess who else is macho? Guess who else is macho? Yes, it's the Iranians. The Iranians are macho. And they've been macho ever since they vowed to bury us in the early 1980s. They said, "We will bury you," or something like that. I don't remember exactly what they said. Death to Americans. Death to Americans, death to Israel. They're macho, which is not exemplary in a Middle Eastern country. It's not an exemplary trait to have. It's not. It's considered. It's frowned upon to be macho, but they are macho in Iran. They're very macho. So in this Ayatollah Khamenei, it looks like Trump has met his match. He's met his match. He's met somebody who's just as macho as he is. And guess who else is macho? Vladimir Zelensky is macho, and Vladimir Putin is macho. They're also macho. They don't give in. They don't yield. They don't compromise. They make sure that they get 100% of what they want. So and they never yield. They never yield. They never give in. They never compromise. They never go for less than 100%. And they expect the very best of everything for themselves. They're macho. So machoism is on the rise. It's on the rise in this world, and the young generation thinks macho is just great. They think it's great. They love it. The younger generation loves macho. They weren't trained properly by their parents, and they're impressed by machoism. They think macho is a good family value. So this younger generation has gone all head over heels for macho people. They think it's great. They think it's exemplary to be macho. And so if indeed Trump has met his match on machoism in the Ayatollah Khamenei. Now, it used to be the Ayatollah Khomeini, but this is a new person now. The Ayatollah Khomeini is dead, and now the Ayatollah Khamenei has taken over for him. And he's got other Ayatollahs lined up that'll take his place if he's assassinated, which Trump has been hinting he might do. But he doesn't want to give it away ahead of time, so he just says, well, I might. I might. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but everyone will find out once I do it. I might try to assassinate him. I might. Oh my gosh. We're stuck with a macho president, right? Thinks he's something else. He thinks he's the best thing that was ever born. That he's the side you butter your bread on. You butter the bread on his side. So what do we do about these macho people? Well, you just have to be really patient, because that's what they ask for. They ask for eternal patience, and at the same time they're very impatient people. They're very impatient. Like they say, Trump was impatient. He let the ball fall. He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait 2 weeks to talk to the Iranians. Couldn't even wait 2 days. He just dropped the bomb as fast as he could. And there had to be some planning beforehand for all of this. So he was planning it beforehand that he wasn't going to talk to the Iranians. He must have not talked to them at all. He just immediately put his plan into effect, because it took them a couple of days to get everything ready. So he put it into effect immediately, basically. So he didn't wait 2 days. They say he waited 2 days, but it just took 2 days to carry his orders out. So he did it immediately. And so if Trump had no intentions of negotiating and no intentions of compromising, that makes him macho, right? And these Iranians don't admire him for that. They want him to be soft, like some of our other presidents were. But they like to be macho too. So they're basically judging him for the thing that they're most like. You see what I'm saying? They're judging him for the thing that they're most like. They're hypocrites. And Trump isn't a hypocrite, because he's not judging anyone, but he is macho. He is macho. So that Iranians can judge him all they like, but at the end of the day, they're just like him. And if you think about it, if you think about him dropping the bomb on the Iranians, if you think just a little bit about it, you realize that it couldn't have been any different. It couldn't have gone any other way. Biden would have botched it. I'm sorry to say that, yes, people, Biden would have botched it. And Trump pulled it off spectacularly, but it turned out that he didn't set them back as far as he would have liked, because he spilled the beans that he might be participating. He couldn't resist talk when he was in the limelight, when that limelight was shining on him and he was in front of the media. He couldn't resist dropping mouse cookies and telling what he intended to do. That's why they rushed so fast to get all their stuff out of there, because they guessed what he was about to do. It wasn't a leak, wasn't a top secret briefing leak. It was Trump himself. So, as far as we can tell, this was the only way it could have ended. It ended according to Trump's plan, and it couldn't have gone any other way. Now, as far as the end of the war goes, like, they brought Iran to the bargaining table after they dropped the bombs, and they declared a ceasefire with Israel. And now Trump is acting like, hi there, the negotiations are all done. No more worries. But there is a worry, because they can still produce a bomb if they want to. And they haven't agreed not to produce a bomb. So there have to be more talks. And the talks, I'll tell you something I saw on CNN the other night. Or maybe it was early in the morning hours. It was the wee hours of the morning. And this man came on who was basically very liberal man, who had become a security expert. And he said, we have to bring Iran to the bargaining table, and we have to talk some sense into them. We need to bring the Iranians to their senses before it's too late. Oh my gosh. No, No, you're not going to bring Iranians to the table and convince them. Okay? You're not going to convince them of anything. They think they know it all because they're macho. And because they're macho and because they're know-it-alls and think that they know best, they're not going to you're not going to talk any sense into them. And if you think you did, if you think you talked sense into them, you were wrong. They don't need to be brought to their senses. They already have all their senses, and thank you very much. They do not need you. They do not need you to talk sense into them. They will not ever come to their senses. They are macho, 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 and they will not yield, and they will not change for anyone. Okay? So what Trump did, he knows macho. Okay, Trump knows macho when he sees it because it takes one to know one, right? So Trump knew that they were macho, and so he acted macholy. That's the way macho people deal with each other, and that's what they do to each other. They're macho. It's the eternal, universal code of machoism that you just drop the ball on your enemy and you never yield and you never give up and you never change and you hate change and you all of those things are macho. It sounds like Americans, right? Americans are that way. Americans are macho. So this guy said, we're going to bring the Iranians to their senses. He's full of it. I had to turn it off. I couldn't stand it anymore. They just, and CNN, the people they bring on to talk to you are so bogus. They're so bogus and they're so full of it. Some expert, right? Some expert, we're going to bring them to their senses. Some expert, right? Yeah, not much of an expert on anything except how to be a weak ass liberal. But of course, the thing that I object to most about liberals is not that they're weak. It's that they are basically several shades of socialism. But that's one objection to liberals. Not that they're weak, but they have several shades of socialism. But this guy was just ignorant. Okay, he did not know what side his bread was buttered on. His bread was buttered on. He didn't know. He was clueless. And that's another thing people observe. Some liberals, not all, but some liberals can be pretty clueless sometimes. They think everyone's nice, and everyone is not nice. Okay, people are not nice, they're mean. They're mean, they're cruel, they're vicious. You can't talk to them. And this is a major problem. This is a major sticking point with liberals. They don't know how to talk to people or teach them or reach them because they think that they just have to be nice. They think if they're nice, they're going to reach people. And they don't. And they can't. So, as far as Vance Belter is concerned, he was not, and I repeat, not a true survivalist or prepper. He was not a true prepper, and he was not a true survivalist. Why? Because he went right into the jaws of danger. If he were a true prepper, he would be doing everything he could to protect his family from harm, to protect his family from danger, and to protect himself from danger and harm. He would not be walking right into the arms of danger. Okay? So this thing about him being a prepper and basically smearing all preppers as basically nutballs that want to take out government officials. It's not true. It's not true. This guy was not a true prepper. He can't even be called a prepper just because he was involved with the prepper movement momentarily. That was just a moment of lucidity and a long slide downward. And we know he slid downward because of what he did. He murdered the Hortmans, and he severely wounded the Hoffmans. And so Melissa and Mark are dead now, and it's because of this Vance Belter. Vance Belter is not a true prepper. Okay, he's not the real deal. Because if he were, he would not be courting danger, and he would not be going to war, quote unquote, where he wages his own personal war against individuals on American soil. You know what I'm talking about? Know what I'm saying? He's waging war on America and American citizens, waging his personal war. You say it was because he's pro-life. But how many pro-lifers do you know that go out and take lives? So he's not true pro-lifer either, because he wants to take lives. So what can we do about this? What can we do? There's not much to be done in the case of someone like Vance Belter, because you can't talk sense into them. You can't convince them. They're macho. You can't talk sense into them. You can't convince them. You can't deter them from their path. All you can do is take their weapons away. That's all you can do. And that's what people have been a sticking point with people, because they still want to be able to hunt, and they still want guns for self-defense. But they don't want to give up their guns just because of a Vance Belter. So the murders and the mass shootings will continue. And I understand wanting a gun for self-defense, because everyone's got a gun. When everyone's got a gun, then you have to worry about self-defense. But if everyone's gun were taken away, you wouldn't have to worry about self-defense anymore. But then, of course, you have to worry about the government going sour. But who wants to try to conquer the government with their guns? Nobody, right? Except maybe the people of January 6th. Yeah, that's it, January 6th. The people of January 6th, they don't have any qualms about bringing guns to the party. But most people are sane enough to know that any attempt to overthrow the government would be turned down, because the government is very strong. It's the strongest government on earth. You can't be defeated. So that takes away your theory that you should be well armed to be a defense against the government. That's not going to work. That's not going to work, and it's not going to fly. So this thing about the right to bear arms shall not be infringed, it's sort of basically last couple of centuries old, okay? And it's not true anymore. I hate to tell you this. I hate to be the one to break the bad news, but it's not true anymore. So maybe we should take the guns away from these lunatics. Maybe we should take guns away, because these murders are just horrible, and they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. Anything they can use to kill a person, even a car, they'll use to kill people. Very sad. We can't take cars away, and people will still use cars to commit murder, but guns are more flexible. You can go walk into a building with barricades with a gun. So barricades aren't going to protect you from a person who's armed with a gun. That's one thing. But basically, other than that, cars and guns are pretty much equal as far as their killing power. But I think they should maybe possibly take guns away from these criminals before they commit their crimes. And I don't know how that's going to work out, but I know that we don't need guns to defend our to back up our military or to defend our military, or even to guns to overthrow the government. That's not going to work. That isn't going to work. So I would just take the guns away, because this is going to continue. This is going to continue. It's going to keep going on and on forever. And I know that there's private companies, like, well, there's private investigators, and there's some uh, security companies that are allowed to carry guns. And this guy would have had a gun anyway because he's a security guard. But I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what to tell you. There was no stopping this guy because he was already a security guard and he already had a gun. So how could you stop a guy who already has a gun? I don't know. I don't know how you stop a guy who already has a gun legally and would have a gun legally. I don't know how you stop him. There was no stopping Vance Belter. It was something that was going to happen no matter what, and we couldn't stop him. But for all the other people who are not security guards, who have guns, who have committed these mass murders and these other crimes of murder and political assassinations, attempted political assassinations, if you took their guns away, we'd all be better off, right? Probably so. So I'll leave you with this. Keep praying. Keep praying that these mass murders stop, and that somebody does something to stop these mass murders, because they're just going to keep going on and on and on. I don't know what to tell you. I'll see you next time.